is denial of advertising or denial of patronage through buying the journal, is that a way out? Or not giving the TV channel the eyeballs that they need, is that a way out? Or is the code of conduct method a good one? Let me ask you plainly, do you have a written code of conduct for your journal?
First of all, let me just say that most of what Sukumar just said is extremely valid. First of all, government intervention is an incredibly bad idea.
Sure.
I mean, that goes without saying.
I think most of us would agree on that.
Largely because every politician and everybody in power and everybody also with money would ideally like to shut the media down completely.
Right.
Because we blow the whistle, or should be blowing the whistle on those who abuse money and power.
Yes.
So there is a very strong case for self-regulation, and I have to say that Mint, a paper that Sukumar works with, is an excellent example of what rigorous and high-quality media and journalism should be, and it's probably one of the best self-regulated newspapers in India today. And as I noticed, he has a big style book. I have to confess, Tehelka doesn't have a style book. We barely manage to get our own magazine out every week. If we had the resources, we'd probably build up a big style book also. But I mean, this is neither about Mint nor about Tehelka. The bottom line is, I think, overall, media in India is an extremely, extremely sticky place today. And a lot of that has to do with some of the things that were alluded to earlier. It has to do with a basically flawed model. Our model is so deeply flawed, and actually the flaw has deepened over the last 15 years. It's a model that's almost entirely dependent on advertising. Whether you're a television channel or you're a print publication, you cannot survive unless you get huge amounts of advertising. I mean, unlike most other developed societies where readers pay a certain amount of money to buy a product or to watch a channel, in India, readers wish to pay nothing. So whenever I'm asked by readers about journalism, I always tell people, like this wonderful group here, that you don't pay for the journalism. The advertiser pays for the journalism, so you get the journalism that the advertiser wants. When you start paying for the journalism, you'll start getting the journalism you want. I mean, people don't want to pay people in India pay 2.5 rupees for a newspaper, pay almost nothing for a television channel. I mean, how can you produce a daily newspaper involving hundreds of first-rate minds, a fresh product every day, paper, printing, distribution, for 2 rupees? So somebody is paying for it, and that's the advertiser. And I'll tell you what the offshoot of that is. The offshoot of that is that you have a public climate today that is unable to actually take account of its corporate misdeeds and misdoings. Because in the last 25 years, while we may have seen hundreds of expose and investigations against politicians, any number of politicians have been arraigned and punished for their wrongdoing. I defy anyone to show me even 5 big expose that have actually unveiled the wrongdoing of corporates. And the reason nobody will do that, no publication or journalistic outfit in India will do that, is because our entire economics depends on advertising. So in one sense, out of the 3 great let me say, the 3 great axes of a free society, of a liberal society, that's political power, money, power, business, and media, you have a situation where one major axis, which is business, is almost counted out of any kind of rigorous investigation. So it basically just comes down to politics. Now, when you see the growth of the TV channels here, and I'll tell you something, that this thing will continue and continue to get worse till we reach a situation where you have a few million people in this country, of 1 billion and 150 million people, who are willing to buy a newspaper or a magazine or subscribe to a channel by paying a legitimate amount of money, which actually reduces our dependency on advertising. We are completely crippled by this dependency on advertising. People very often ask me the same thing. I tell them, you buy my magazine for 100 rupees. If 100,000 people buy my magazine for 100 rupees every week, we'll go and nail everybody out there, But you've got to be willing to put that out. So we think nothing about having a 2,000 rupee meal or spending 200 rupees on seeing a movie. But for our newspaper, we say 2.5 rupees and no more. It's a problem. Because at the end of the day, a great media enterprise, a great media institution is almost at the heart of a high-quality liberal democracy. I mean, the New York Times is at the heart. The Washington Post is at the heart of the American enterprise. I mean, great papers, great channels at the heart of great liberal societies. If you cannot create systems which will let those survive, you will always be in trouble. And that trouble has already come home to us in India. I mean, let's look at the channels. Now, this entire burgeoning of channels that's taken place, 67 channels is what I was told.
Okay.
You're saying 40, but 67 is what I'm told. There are 67 news channels here. So many of these channels are today being funded by developers, businessmen, pan masala makers, all kinds of people. Why? There is no money to be made in news, let me tell you right now, for anybody else who's planning to get into it. There is no money to be made in news. So why are people getting into it? Largely because you have a political setup in India today that is so vitiated that politics, money, and media are in some kind of unholy soup. And people who then get into media imagine that they can leverage the power of media to get political advantage. It's as simple as that. And a lot of the problem that we face today is that the elite of this country, that's all of us here, and the intelligentsia of this country is not able to make the connections or does not wish to make the connections. So you have a society that's compromised all across the board. It's a closed circuit. We all help each other out. And this in a country where you have a situation where almost 500 million of people in this country live almost in sub-Saharan kind of distress. So you have a situation, let's look, so 67 channels, any number of newspapers and magazines. So there's a real problem of plenty. And let me tell you about the paradox of plenty. When I was a young journalist in the early 80s, I remember every single news group in India used to have a rural bureau. That means there was a set of reporters used to cover rural India. Today, when we have a size of media that's at least 500 to 1,000 times what it was when I first became a journalist, you have reached a situation where you'll be hard put to find any media house that has a rural bureau, rural reporters. So suddenly, even as we've grown and multiplied, our concerns have become narrower and narrower. And the concerns are fundamentally what we all see. It's crime, it's cinema, it's cricket, it's the stock market. So in a very peculiar way, even as we multiplied very aggressively, our range of concerns has become narrower and narrower. And that's part of the elite neurosis of India today. And it's already beginning to come home to us. It's why when a lot of people started making a noise about the Bombay thing, I kept saying, but this is something a lot of people like me have been saying for years, that we are in trouble. It doesn't need for the Oberoi and the Taj to be bombed before you realize you're in trouble. You are in trouble. So that's a paradox of plenty that we are having. Quick two other points about media. One is that the 24-hour news channels, that's what we are fundamentally discussing. Is also it's putting a premium on shallow thinking. We are already a society that's in some distress because we think very shallowly. We don't put our pieces together. And 24-hour news channels actually puts a premium on shallow thinking, where it's a soundbite game. Switch on to any talk show, and you'll see at what level the talk show is taking place. Sure. It's really a shallow game. It's problematic. And the last thing is, a lot of chaos then begins to exist today in India because it has a medium to legitimize it. So if you have 7 Shiv Sainiks who go and break up a movie hall, and television cameras in close-up keep showing you those 7 chaps for the next 6 hours, you get a sense of chaos, which is in complete disproportionate to what is really happening. Absolutely. So because they found, it's like the Raj Thackeray syndrome. Raj Thackeray has used the media and the 24-hour news channels in India to provide a legitimacy to his kind of completely screwball ideas. What I'm saying is there is a way that television 24-hour news channel begins to legitimize chaos. And that's something I think we need to watch out for. Lastly, I think a lot of this has to, I'm not going to say we need to point fingers at anybody. I think a lot of this is largely dependent on leadership within the profession. What we really need is a lot more high-quality leadership in the profession that begins to see and put together the puzzle and understand that there are things that we cannot do and must not do, and there are things that we need to do.